Hello once again, Mustang football fans, and welcome to this week's edition of the Cory Sauter Show. I'm Kelly Loft, Athletic Communications Director at Southwest Minnesota State University, and thanks for joining us here at Marshall Cable Access, Studio One, and online at SMSUmustangs.com. Again this week, we talk Mustang football with the head coach Cory Sauter, SMSU, coming off a great win over Minot State last Friday night, 37-21. We'll talk about that game, look at the highlights, and preview this week's game versus Bemidji State University in the Northland coming up on September the 28th. And Coach Sauter joins us on the show once again, obviously, and great to be talking about another victory, second straight win for Southwest this past Friday night, 37-21. Great start, Coach. We'll look at the highlights shortly, but exactly what you needed, a great team effort. You got a field goal, special teams. You also got a great defensive play. The offense was spectacular, and just a great team win.
It was. To win in the Northern Sun, one game is hard enough, but to win back-to-back games is something that's very, very nice for our program. And we've got a lot of work ahead of us, but as you mentioned, it was a great team win. Really all three phases did their jobs, and it really was evident that we were playing at a pretty good level on Friday night. And you look at special teams, we didn't make any major mistakes. We didn't have anything glaring from that end. Defensively, being able to get turnovers, being able to get off the field on third down, and then obviously offensively being able to punch it in when we did get those turnovers. And we were able to kind of open it up a little bit into that second, third quarter. And it was just nice for us to actually execute what we planned all week long. It was a short week. We had a very short, tight, concise game plan, and guys were executing with confidence, and we got some good results from it.
Yeah, some of the numbers from the ball game, the Mustangs offensively, 530 yards of offense. Minot State, just 336. A great first quarter, Coach, where you really dominated the time of possession. You ran a lot of plays. Minot had just 1 yard of offense, and you forced 4 turnovers, the Mustang defense. And despite that, you put up some big numbers in the first quarter, but weren't able to take advantage of a couple of turnovers. But despite that, the defense held, and then finally, like you mentioned, the offense clicked. But just a great start, what you wanted there to open up that first quarter.
It was, and then, offensively, we drove right away and scored. That was nice to see. We went for it on the next series where we ended up having to, we ended up getting stopped, and then we had another series where we actually had to kick a field goal, and so we weren't clicking at all cylinders. We were moving the ball, but we weren't quite capitalizing on some of those field position situations, and but we were playing well enough where we were still able to get points, and those accumulated over time. But we ended up running 38 offensive plays in that first quarter, and when you create turnovers, that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, again, the Mustang offense with 90 offensive plays run in the first 3 weeks now. Southwest with just over 90 plays per game is exactly that up tempo that you want, and get those plays and make that defense tired, and you take advantage of it with those turnovers, and we're able to jump ahead to a big number. And Minot State made an effort to get back into it in the second half, but you were able to make some more stops, and took advantage also on special teams. You talk about not making those major mistakes, and Minot State did with a couple of personal fouls when we're trying to punt the football away, and we were able to take advantage both times and score touchdowns.
Right, both of those series, we were stopped, and we actually got an extra possession, so to speak. And the nice thing is our guys were ready once that happened to go out and capitalize on someone else's mistake. And but on the flip end, we made plenty of mistakes on our end. As far as offensively, we had, I believe, 10 penalties just from our offense alone, and I think 7 of them were false start penalties. We had 2 holdings and 1 snap infraction. So that is way too many penalties. If you add that up, we would be close to 600 yards of offense if we just eliminate those things. And but as with every game, there's always going to be some things you got to correct, and that was definitely one that we've got to get better at as we move forward.
Well, we saw Minot State battle back and try to make it a ball game, and they're a very talented squad. We knew coming in they'd be very good. They beat Augustana the week prior to that, and they had a couple of players that played for the first time during the season against us, including their wide receiver, and pretty impressive to do that against our offense against their defense, because they've been able to shut some people down in their first couple of weeks.
Yeah, they have, and they're a very resilient group. I mean, they really battled. The one thing that hurt them probably is just they had some injuries too over the course of the game. They had about 2 or 3 offensive linemen that went down, and so they're playing with some backups and maybe even some third string guys, and they had to change some jerseys, and it wasn't good from their end. And so we put some pressure on them at that point, and that's when a lot of our sacks started to accumulate, is when we started to actually go after their quarterback, and they just couldn't hold up protection wise, and we were able to again gain good field position for our offense, and we're able to close out with the win.
Yeah, some of the numbers, as Coach just mentioned, a lot of sacks for the Mustangs, 6 sacks in the game, and that's the highest total a Mustang defense have had in about 4 years. So 6 sacks and a lot of pressure on the quarterback, forcing him into 3 interceptions and tackles for loss. It was just a complete team defensive effort. Deshaun Miller with 3 sacks in the game. A.J. Page led the team in tackles, but the exciting part was not even getting the sacks all the time, but it was just the pressure that they put on the quarterback. It really made him uncomfortable.
Absolutely, and we've been in that position plenty of times over the years where our offense is, we're behind by a couple scores, and we're a little bit more pass oriented, and whenever you're one-dimensional, it makes it tough for those offensive linemen and running backs to pick up all the different blitz combinations that teams like to dial up in those situations. And so we did the same thing. I mean, we did some things that they just weren't able to pick up, and we got some hits on the quarterback. We forced him to throw it before he was ready, and that's when those interceptions happened. It was an overthrown ball. Safety's there to make the play, and it was just, like I said, a very, very good team effort. I mean, all 3 phases were clicking at a high level, and we were able to capitalize on any of their mistakes, and we made very few mistakes. We had the one interception on offense, which was a heck of a play by their guy. I mean, he came off the block and ended up batting it and intercepting it. But other than that, we were protecting the football and just maintaining good field position throughout the ball game.
Well, offensively, the Mustangs balanced attack. Tyler Tondrum led the way for the Mustangs, 3 touchdowns rushing, 135 yards rushing yards. Jordan Cross, a career-high 7 catches, 78 yards, his first career touchdown. And Cody Condon, 5 catches, 32 yards. And Charlie Kern at quarterback, very efficient, 21 of 29, 250 yards, and a couple of touchdowns. I think the encouraging sign, too, Coach, look in the rushing attack, Caleb Burns back after a week off, and then Ashanti Payne. Both ran the football extremely well, along with Tyler, and it's good to see that second and third guys be able to play if they need to be called on later this season, and then to give Tyler a break at times as well. Right,
and so you can't play 90 snaps of offense with just one guy, so we have to have 2, 3, even 4 guys ready to go, because that's just the nature of football. And but it was nice to see those guys be productive and go downhill, see their blocks, and get positive yardage for us. We didn't really miss a whole lot with Tyler taking out a few plays. I mean, those guys stepped in and kind of continue where he left off, and so we're very happy with just that position in general, because that was one of our major question marks going into the season, is how are those 3, 4 guys going to react to playing their first college football, as far as that position. Charlie Kern had a very solid ball game. He didn't do anything to beat us, besides the interception, which was a great play. He got us out of trouble a lot of times where he just didn't throw a ball just to force it in there. He just ended up just taking it and running it, and he ended up getting 7, 8 yards a carry on those things. He was able to complete a lot of those easy, manageable short throws, and then he made some big-time throws. He had a nice throw to Dean on the sideline. He had the one to Jordan Cross for the touchdown. That was a heck of a throw down the middle of the field, and so I thought he just played a very solid ball game. We didn't ask him to do a whole lot, but again, that was our game plan, and he executed pretty much flawlessly.
Yeah, we talked about getting those second and third guys that for added depth, a chance to play, and defensively, they got to do that. A lot of guys got to come in the 2s and 3s, and got some college experience, which is invaluable, because again, you never know when you're going to need them. And the defense did a great job, that #1 defense, and a chance to give other guys an opportunity on both sides of the football.
Yeah, and in that fourth fourth quarter, we ended up getting a lot of reps to our twos, especially on defense. We wanted to get them some work. We did give up some touchdowns. Some guys really stepped up to the plate. Some guys were a little bit out of position. Some guys are a little bit, not quite where they needed to be, and so those are just the things that we got to correct, as we go forward. But all in all, effort was phenomenal. And it's pretty easy to have great effort when you're playing at home with a great crowd and everybody is behind you and everything's going well. So very happy with that. And now, the season continues as we go forward. Next week and the rest of the season, there's going to be some big challenges ahead of us.
Well, of course, we talked about the special teams briefly as well. It was great to have Mike Wenk back as a punter. Did a very good job, 4 punts, an average of 40 plus yards per punt, and then booted a field goal. Lance Schuweiler with a kick as well, and his kickoff's very good, well positioned. Their longest kick return was 25 yards, and they had some very talented players. That's exactly what you're talking about, just how important it is to have good punts, to pin a team back, not give up that net yardage. And then obviously in the kickoff returns, the guys went down there, and a lot of different guys were able to make some tackles, and it was just a great job on that special teams.
Right, guys like Tyler Flood, that really was our special teams player of the game. He was flying all over the field. Our kickers did a nice job. Lance spotted balls, different spots. We weren't always just kicking in the same spots. We really mixed that thing up, kept them really off balance as far as their return game, and so it was one of those weeks where we had a plan. The guys prepared properly during the week, and then actually on game day they executed the plan, and that's a hard thing to do, especially in football, because there's just so many of those little variables that change over the course of a ball game, and guys were able to communicate really well and make some adjustments on the sideline, and it was just a fun game for us. Things came together.
Yeah, and you talk about the special teams, how important it is, but those are those spots where the young guys got to come up and play, and they're going to get more time throughout their careers. But you look at a Dalen Finley who leads the team in special teams tackles, and Max Matala, who had a very nice game as well, and Flood you mentioned, and guys Casey Hertz, those kind of guys, they all need to. That's how they're going to get on the field. There's playing as redshirt freshman or freshman, sophomore, and then eventually, we'll probably slide up into a role on defense or offense. But it's a huge part of the game, and we've always talked about it. But you saw a great example this past Friday where really Minot had no real big plays at all in the special teams.
Yeah, and we've got a great example in Tyler Tondrum, who over the past several years, that's really all he did, and he did it really well, and so guys can see that we've got guys that are very capable of playing in first and second team offense and defense, but what projects them and propels them into that role is if they do a great job with special teams, a lot of times they're going to be given more and more opportunities, whatever other position they play, and so it's just an important part of the game. We talk about it, and you only have X number of minutes to prepare against an opposing team over the course of the week in special teams, and so those are valuable 20 minutes a day that you got, and guys have to perform.
Well, you are watching the Cory Sauter Show here at Studio One, Marshall Cable Access, and online at SMSUmustangs.com. The Mustangs coming off a 37-21 victory over Minot State, second straight win for the Mustangs, their first two-game winning streak since the 2010 season. The Mustangs will be looking for 3 straight coming up this weekend at Bemidji State, and we'll talk about that ball game here in a few minutes. But right now, let's take a look at the highlights from this past Friday night's game versus Minot State at the Schwann Regional Event Center. The Mustangs, of course, with the win 37-21. And Coach, we start off here in the first quarter with a 30-yard pass Kern to Britt Wickett.
Yeah, this was actually the first play of the game. We threw a little bubble screen out to the side, and we had great blocks by Condon and Dean, and we turned a simple throw into about a 30-yard gain.
Later on, there's a touchdown run by Tyler Tondrum. Mustangs cap off the drive, take a 7-0 lead.
Yeah, muscles it in. Not the biggest guy, but he's a tough kid.
And then a couple of big plays defensively. First interception of Jared Tweet's career.
Yep, Jared Tweet, doing his job. He's playing deep third, and he's reading the quarterback's eyes. Quarterback makes a high throw, and Jared goes up and catches at the high point.
Mustangs not able to take advantage of the turnover and get any points, but they get back on defense, and Donovan Wood's a great play.
Yep, Donovan here just undercuts the receiver, comes underneath them, and really makes a nice play. You know, what a great way to start the game with back-to-back turnovers and giving our offense great field position.
Mustangs get back on the offense, and here's a big run by Tondrum, 16-yarder.
Yep, and he has breakaway speed, but you know here it just shows that he has the ability to be a power guy. You know, he's able to bounce off of tackles, and he's a strong kid.
Mustangs have to settle for a field goal attempt, and Lance Schuweiler buries it through from 25 yards out.
Yeah, we were a few yards short of the first down. We needed to get points, and Lance did a nice job knocking it through.
Mustangs get a big break here in the second quarter. J.J. Bobowitz falls on a fumble.
Yep, snap kind of rolls back, and we kind of get a gift at our plus 45-yard line, and it was nice to be able to capitalize on it on this next play.
Sudden turn of events, and the Mustangs take advantage of and Tondrum 46-yard touchdown.
We practice this every day, sudden change offense and defense, being able to just get out on the field and run a play, and here Tondi splits the safeties, and you can see his speed on that one.
And the Beavers try to reverse. They drop the ball, and Mustangs take advantage. A.J. Page with the tackle for loss.
Yeah, they botch this reverse, and A.J. stays at home, makes the open field tackle, and again, puts him in a long yard situation.
Mustangs go up 24-0. Great pass here, Kern to cross.
One of my favorite plays of the day. It starts with protection, but what a tremendous throw up and over the top. And Jordan Cross, our offensive MVP this week, comes down with it. It was good to see him get his first touchdown.
Absolutely perfect pass. And here's a sack, 1 of 6 for the Mustangs. Page hammering Kuna, the quarterback.
Yep, we dialed up a pressure here, and A.J. comes free and makes the sack, and what a great way to start the ball game.
So the Mustangs have a lead 24-0, and it gets to 24-7 later on. At halftime, but the Mustangs then go on defense to start that second half, Coach, and you have the lead, so you felt comfortable at halftime. But what are some of the adjustments that you think you had to make at least to get ready for that second half? Because you did kind of have your way, but Minot did get some points late and had a chance to cut into that and try to get some momentum back.
Right, and the best thing that we did, at the end of the half was prevent them from getting on the scoreboard again. We ended up missing a field goal, but we knew that we were doing some good things offensively. We were doing good things defensively, special teams. It was more of a mindset more than anything. For us, we had to make sure that we came out the second half with the same intensity that we had in the first half. Treat the game like it's 0-0. Teams are very capable of coming back in this conference, and so if you have a team down, you got to keep them there, and that was really our biggest obstacle. We didn't really change a whole lot. We just really dialed up and decided what plays we wanted to emphasize going in the second half, but game plan really didn't change at all. It was just making sure our guys stayed hungry and completed a full 60-minute game. Yeah,
at the halftime stats, Mustangs with 300 yards of total offense, ran 51 plays, and again the Beavers came back, got a touchdown to make it 24-7, missed a field goal late in the half, and the Mustangs had the lead. So you start off the second half, Coach, and the defense really set the tone early on here. As we take a look at the highlights in the second half, is Deshaun Miller, as you mentioned, had 3 sacks, and here's one of them right here to start the second half.
Yep, we brought some pressure inside, just a cross blitz, and the running back didn't pick it up, and we ended up getting a sack. And then, right after that, we ended up getting another one, kind of back-to-back sacks with Deshaun. And, whenever you get a team that can't quite handle pressure, we're going to go ahead and try to get after them a little bit.
There's a great pass here, Kern to Anthony Dean, just a great job here as the Mustangs break 3 for a touchdown.
Yep, we can see a great burst by Dean. Nice blocks. Wickett had a really nice block on the backside. A great way for us to execute that one.
Talking again here, look at the great run by Tondrum, just blowing over a couple of Minot State Beavers.
And you can just see, again, just his toughness. He's not just going to go down. Everyone thinks of him as a speed guy, but he is a strong kid.
Here's Kern finding Anthony Dean. Great catch here. Very good coverage by the defender, but Dean able to haul it in.
Yep. Kern puts it up in vicinity where he can go up and make a play. And again, Dean only had 2 catches, but there are 2 big catches for us.
And moments later, Tondrum scores for the touchdown to give the Mustangs a bigger lead there at 37 points to 14. And Mustangs again put on pressure, and you got the lead, you able to bring the pressure more, and here's a sack for the Mustangs.
Yeah, just some indecision by their offensive linemen, and we ended up getting another sack.
Ashanti Payne, the true freshman from Robbinsdale Cooper, with a nice burst up the middle.
Yep, shows just a glimpse of what he's capable of doing. Very tough runner, fast, strong kid. Again, he fits our system very, very well. And
Tweet with his second interception of the game. First Mustang to have 2 interceptions in quite some time, and he gets one here reading the quarterback again.
Yep, ball's overthrown. He's in great position, makes the catch. That's half the battle. Just once it's there, you actually got to catch it, and he did a nice job on both those interceptions.
Here's a sack, a couple more here to wrap it up. One by Adam Iverson and Alex Oliver helping out as well.
It was good to see a senior, Adam Iverson, make a play on this inside twist for the sack, and then the next play with Oliver coming in. Replacing A.J. Page, really did a nice job stepping in, and again, he's a very good pass rusher. He did a nice job all game long.
Yeah, very good to see a lot of different guys step up for the Mustangs on both sides of the football, and they get the victory 37-21. A Friday night game at the Schwann Regional Event Center, and the Mustangs do exactly what you want, Coach, and that's take it each week. Go 1-0. You went 1-0 this week, and now it goes ahead now to take on the Bemidji State University Beavers coming up this weekend as well. Well, one thing we should talk about, we've talked in the preseason, our show, about the seniors up front and the offensive line, but the first couple of weeks, 3 weeks now, you're putting up some big numbers, and a lot of different guys have made a lot of impact there on that offensive line, but they continue to do a very good job, and they deserve to get recognized as much as they can, and they're doing exactly what you talked about. You look at the plays, and great passes by Kern and some other plays, but he had time to throw the football.
He did, and those 5 guys up front, I mean, they just know each other inside and out. They've played so many games together, and when you play a fast tempo offense, you really don't have a whole lot of time to communicate, so a lot of times it's visually reacting to what they see, and we're very blessed to have those 5 guys. We will definitely miss them once they graduate. They give us time to throw. They give us running lanes, and sometimes we don't have the best look, but they're capable of getting off a block and getting maybe that second guy sometimes on a screen, and so they're doing a nice job, and I just hopefully they can stay healthy and we can continue going forward. They're the catalyst of our offense. If they play well, everyone plays well.
Yeah, kind of talk about, you mentioned they're a veteran group and you're going to have to replace them next year, but there are guys, backups that are very solid as well. Talk about in practice, not only on the offensive side, but defense as well. How did those guys get those reps or to be ready to step in? Is it running with the first team? Do they kind of split things, or how does that type of thing work at practice?
Well, during practice, we devote half of our time to our starters and half the time to our backups, right? So that may not be the case, at other places, but we feel that it's very important. It's almost more important to get your backups ready because they're the ones that don't get to play and get the live reps on Saturdays. So we devote half and half, and that way we're giving them really just as many opportunities as our starters, and so through that, as well as technology now, they've got the ability to watch film whenever they want. Everything is online, and guys can watch practice, they can watch games, they can become very good football players just from the mental aspect, and that's kind of one of the biggest things that has changed over the years is just the quality of film and the access of that film, and so everyone's going to get plenty of learning opportunities, not just our starters, but our backups as well.
And that's one thing, I know we talked about it last year, about that access to the video. Back 10, 15 years ago, you'd have to go to the coach's office and maybe as a group watch film, and I'm sure maybe the guys still do that at times, but talk about what kind of access they can. It's all through the internet, and it logs when they're coming in, who's watching what, but it's got to be very convenient for them to be able to do that, especially on all the different devices they have now to do that on a iPad or a phone or that type of thing.
Yeah, I mean, the way it's set up now, I mean, if you have access, you can go right on your phone and watch practice. I see our coaches doing it a lot of times, even our players, they're in between meetings and they can watch, clips from blitz period in practice or watch some special teams clips, you name it. So the access is instant. It's right there. It's just how much time are they going to invest, right? And it's almost like the youth now is you got to keep them engaged. You got to keep them, just short bursts of information. The days of meeting for an hour and a half, watching film, those are kind of long and gone. We try to keep everything within about 45 minutes max, for a meeting. A lot of times we want to make sure that you just give them bursts of information and they just process that a little bit better. And just the way we practice also helps them, because we're going really fast in practice as well, and so they're very engaged, because we're just going from one play to the next, one play to the next, one play to the next, and so they don't have time to really be bored. That's just kind of right. Let's go, and it's been a great change for us. We've been getting the results, and hopefully we can continue those things. But guys have really bought into what we're doing, and they're enjoying it in the process.
Well, the process has been great so far. Mustangs with a 2-1 record, and they wrap up the opponents from the North Division this Saturday at 1 o'clock at Bemidji State University as the Mustangs take on the Beavers. And Coach, I'm sure this will be something brought up throughout the week, and of course that's my kind of job to give the information. But obviously this is a big week for our program against a team that's had our number for quite some time. The Mustangs have lost 12 straight games to Bemidji State. They've been top echelon team in the Northern Sun Conference. 1997 was the last time the Mustangs won against Bemidji State University. But this is probably one of those games where we can really make a mark and say, maybe not a changing of the guard, but to say that we're one of those top teams, because Bemidji is such a good program. They've done a great job over the years, and it'd really be a tip of the cap to go up there on the road and get a win. Yeah,
Coach Tesh and his staff have done a great job over his tenure. I mean, he's been there for 17, 18 years now, and one of those well-respected coaches in the Northern Sun. And to go up to Bemidji, to their place, is a daunting task.
Homecoming.
Yes, homecoming, you name it, everything. The last time we played them, we just got annihilated. I mean, in every sense of the word, we were destroyed in that ball game, and that was embarrassing for me, our players, everyone involved. And there's quite a few guys that played in that game. Our offensive linemen, a lot of our receivers. So this is a game that means a lot to a lot of our players, and so we got to go back to work now. We got a whole week to get ourselves ready. We got to go up and play in a tough environment, and find a way to win. And that's easier said than done. But I really feel like we're starting to make some changes, as far as on offense, defense, special teams, and kind of bringing that all together. Obviously, winning enhances that confidence level, but we've got to be very cautious, because they're a team that you flip the film on and you notice them. And so we're gonna have our hands full, and our goal is to play as well as we can. And if we can beat them, that would be awesome. I mean, it really would be. But we're going to have to play really well to do that, just like any other opponent that we play in the Northern Sun.
Yeah, a couple of years ago, Mustangs last played in Bemidji and held under 200 yards of offense. So hopefully we'll be able to turn things around this weekend. Mustangs going for their third straight win if they can beat the Beavers up there on Saturday. Again, 1 o'clock Southwest at Bemidji State. SMSU will return home the following week to take on University of Sioux Falls for homecoming on October the 5th. For the head coach, Cory Sauter, I'm Kelly Law. Thanks for watching this week's episode of the Cory Sauter Show. Until next time, go Mustangs.